BetMGM Network Sunday pregame starts now with Jason LaCanfora.
I love field goals here. Their offense is broken, and you can correlate it field goal attempts. Like, all they do is kick field goals.
And Kate Constable.
I just think so highly of Kevin O'Connell and what he's able to do with quarterbacks, but Kevin O'Connell has kind of shown us that he can take any quarterback and help them find success.
3 hours, every game, every edge. Your Sunday betting HQ is live. This is BetMGM Game Day on Westwood One Sports.
Not good news on the second to last play in overtime. Bo fractured a bone in his right ankle to put him out for the rest of the season.
Not good news is right. In fact, that's terrible news for the Denver Broncos and Broncos fans across the country. Bo Nix out for the rest of this season with that fractured ankle on one of the last plays of the game. You hate to see it. Broncos win yesterday, 33-30 over the Bills in overtime. Good morning. Welcome into BetMGM Game Day. Jason LaCanfora and Kate Constable here with you for the next 3 hours. We'll recap what we saw in yesterday's divisional round, the two games, the 49ers and Seahawks, and then the Bills and Broncos. And we'll also look ahead to Texans, Patriots, and Bears, Rams later tonight. Jason, good morning. How are we?
We're doing well, Kate. We're doing well. Had a really great night. The second game last night, without a couple injuries. I think it's even better. And the NFL finds itself in the middle of another sort of tempest here, another officiating.
Jason, how many times this week or this year have we started the show talking about officiating?
Well, you know what? I was glad to, and I hate it. And maybe some of it's inevitable, but I also think some of it is a byproduct of the lack of transparency that this league thinks fans deserve on these decisions. The lack of a clear chain of command, the lack of apparently clear protocols. And hopefully some of that changes over time. Hopefully this is a motivating factor. But I'm sorry about the circumstances that it happened, but for Sean McDermott to basically say, we don't even know we're coaching and playing this game on the field, and the guys officiating the game on the field can't really tell us anything because things are being decided in New York, but we don't know who's deciding them, like who's having those discussions, what's being settled there, what the back and forth is between the league and the guys on the field. And like we've all watched, 250 odd football games this year, and we've seen 1:00 windows between, Tennessee and Indianapolis, and those games be held up for 4 minutes for some minutia. And this thing is the biggest officiating decision of the year. And I can't get anything out of them on the sidelines. And they don't even want to go to commercial break. They don't want to sell Uber Eats. They don't want to sell more parlays. They just want to play the damn game. Make that make sense. And then afterwards, Jeff Legwold is the pool reporter, and he goes to Sheffers, the head of the crew, and gets and Sheffers basically passes the buck to New York, who will never say anything about it. It goes back to, we don't know who's in the room. Is it football ops and officiating? Is it just officiating? What credentials do you need to get into that room? What discussions take place in that room? Why isn't there a camera in that room? Like, why aren't we privy to the back and forth communications between the league office and the officials? Like, if we're going to do this right, let's do it right. If we're above reproach, let's act like we're above reproach. But we've talked about it on this show 5 or 6 times this year. I've had GMs, former GMs, team presidents, former team presidents, coaches. People have all reached out to me saying, does this make any sense to you? I'm like, no, I feel like I'm the lunatic on a raft adrift, like screaming, this is effed up. This is effed up. Like, this is going to be a problem. There's going to be a problem in the playoffs. Nobody knows how the sausage is made.
And McDermott even tried to call a timeout or something. Like, he was trying to lengthen the time between
them to call an official timeout to really
the next
have a back and forth with New York to make sure. Like, that's a really nuanced play. People are still looking at it now, finding different angles, saying, I don't like this, I like that, this doesn't add up. They needed no extra time on this. They needed not to pause this game. Where, let's face it, the players are already playing an extra quarter, right? And like,
right.
I'll say another part of the quiet part out loud. It's also BS competitive balance. Why are the Bills in that window in the first place? Like,
good question.
Why are we not trying to give teams at least, I'm not saying like the bye, obviously Denver's going to have a rest advantage.
Yeah.
Why did that team play on Sunday on the road and then come around and play on Saturday in the earliest window in altitude, in extreme situations? And now we're playing an extra quarter, right? So now we're adding on top of that. And Sean Payton said it himself. It's really going to help us in the second half, the bye, which is fine. Which already took a team in the Bills. And they've got, that's a 4-hour flight or 3.5-hour flight. That's real travel. And it's altitude and all that stuff. And now their season's on the line. I think Brandon Cooks caught the ball. Am I biased because I'm sitting on Cooks' long reception over 30 yards plus 310? You're damn right. But like, we don't even need to stop the show, because you know what? We're starting to bleed into that other window, Kate. Kate, they don't want to slip the kick forever in that other game. We got more Uber Eats to sell. We got more parlays to sell. Hey, they're going to slip that kick for a minute, but let's keep this thing going, man. This is good theater. Let's keep it going. The show must go on. Who's the director? This is a sports entertainment product. Okay, like if it's a Broadway show, who's the director? Who's Oz? Who's sitting behind the curtain saying, drop that curtain? You know what I mean? Or keep that curtain up. Like,
we don't know.
That's ultimately what's happening here.
Exactly. And this whole conversation is in question.
That person's not on the field because they're telling you on the field. We don't know why they reached that conclusion. We don't have all day. They're not telling us everything. They just tell us spot the ball or don't spot the ball. Like, come on, man. This is a joke.
And in the back and forth with the officiating after the game, like the official reports, the question is, what did you see on the pass to Brandon Cooks that was ruled an interception by McMillan? And Carl Schaefer's, he said the receiver,
the crew tree,
Sheffers. The receiver has to complete the process of a catch. He was going to the ground as part of the process of the catch, and he lost possession of the ball when he hit the ground. The defender then gained possession. I think you can see that a lot of different ways, and you can kind of pick what you want to see within that play.
I mean, I think he caught the ball. He's down, his knee's down, he's being touched, his head hits the ground, he has a concussion, the ball comes loose, and they're saying the guy caught the ball after he'd already, to me, been tagged down. They're now saying, as Cooks is losing, but they don't want to say this part out loud. As Cooks is losing consciousness, the defender pries the ball away.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, I mean, sets up 2 pass interference calls.
That's 2 seasons right there.
Yep. On the next couple of plays.
But let's not go to break and be really, really sure. Let's not go to break just so when McDermott says after the game, when I asked them what was going on, I got at least an answer. I mean, you got a head coach now. Is he biased? Does he have a bone to pick? I mean, yeah, sure. He just got effed. But like, this is where we are. I don't know how they made that decision. I don't even know who was in the room when they made that decision.
Josh Allen now 0-7 in overtime games, 0-3 in the playoff. And the biggest slap in the face, I think, here, Jason, is that Bo Nix is out for the rest of the season. So the team that you lose to, and the Bills, I mean, 5 turnovers in that game, 4 from Allen, like two picks from Allen, 2 fumbles lost. Like, he did not have his best game. And that's why you saw all the tears in the post-game press conference and him saying he thought he let his team down, is he really didn't play well. But like, you're on the road, you have 5 turnovers, and you still take a team with arguably one of the best defenses, top 2 defenses in the league, to overtime. And then their starting quarterback goes out, but you have to sit at home. And now we all watch Jarrett Stidham, who has not thrown a pass in years. He's had taken one snap this season, and it was a kneel down. Jason, like that, if I'm a Bills player, I am just like torn apart by that The fact that Nix is out and Stidham is in, and if I were the Bills and we could be in that situation, we'd have a lot better opportunity, at least you'd think you would, than a Jarrett Stidham quarterbacked team, someone who has not played in, 3 years? 2022, 23? It's been a long time.
Yeah. So the second part of this is now what happens on. So we talked about the cooks of it all. And then there's a turnover on downs, interception. They had been letting them play. Letting them play
Exactly.
was the narrative that even the corporation that pays billions of dollars for the rights to broadcast these games. I love Gene Steratore. I love him personally. I think he's an officiating savant. I'm a Mean Gene guy. Mean Gene's, hey, they're letting them play a little bit. The one down the sideline to Cooks, that's pass interference in a regular season game. A little bit of hand fighting, didn't go too far. I think you got to let them play there. Somehow, Kate, is it because someone told the director, "Hey, we ain't waiting forever for this other game"? I don't know. I don't know. If the director knew Bo Nix was going to break his ankle, would we go from let them play to now we're calling everything? I don't know, but I don't know how anybody who watched that game couldn't be like a switch was flicked. Like this doesn't feel like what I just saw for 3.5 hours. This feels like enough's enough. Like they got 56 yards in PI calls in that fourth quarter. I mean, in that overtime in the final drive. We hadn't seen that the whole game. Like, did these teams all of a sudden start playing differently? Did they get more handsy in overtime because they're mentally fatigued? Or show must go on. Now we're rolling. Show must go on. We're 8 minutes into this thing. All right, everybody's had the ball. Let's go. On to the next. Let's distract them. On to the next thing. On to the next thing. They need to bet on this other game. They need to buy more wings. I mean, call me a cynic. Call me whatever. But you cannot tell me that was the same. I'm on Bill's money line. But, like, I've covered this league for a long time. Like, it's a terrible look. It's a terrible look. You can't settle the game on Cooks on the road down the sideline on a ball where he's clearly – I mean, the jersey's off. I mean, there is space between the human being and the jersey because of the defender. A lot of space on a critical play. You got to let that one go, but you got to call everything on the ensuing drive. In a similar vein. Was the last one maybe more egregious? I mean, maybe, but I think a lot of people would say
the first one was like ticky-tack.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the first one was
and that extends the drive. Bosa's a moron. I get it. What Bosa did, stupid. Would that have ended up negating one of them? Sure. But once you call the first one, now the floodgates are open. Now it's real. Now the tenor has definitely changed, and it's like, get Lutz out there. Let him make the field goal. This one's over. Take him out to Seattle. It's what it felt like to me as someone who's covered this league as a journalist, the Washington Post, NFL Network, CBS Sports for a long time. As someone who was betting on this league before it was legal. I'm just going to keep it real. Back when I'm in high school and college, someone who's followed it from that angle the whole time, someone who handicaps games, and someone who's just watched a boatload of football. Like, when you do things like Isaiah Likely in the end zone, now we're talking about a third leg, when you have to have firm, I never heard third leg. Now it's firm possession to complete the catch. Now it's like fully completing the catch. When I have the ball, my knees down, they touch me down, and I have a concussion in real time and lose consciousness. What is he supposed to do? Is Brandon Cooks now supposed to go, well, if he would have put a divot 6 or more inches into the ground and gone, he should have completed the catch, Kate, through the ground. Like, what? I mean, I just think they're asking an awful lot for you to think like they're not just making this up as they go along. They're not just trying to get one window over to get into another window. Like, they've had enough of this. Like, if that's not the prevailing spirit, then they should do a hell of a better job selling that that's not the prevailing spirit. When there's long gaps from Mean Gene saying anything, because he's afraid to say the wrong thing, and Big Brother's going to get in his ear too and tell him, no, this was the call, Hoss. This was the call. We're opening those TV contracts up again in 18 months when we go to 18 regular season games. This was the call. Laid out for a long time in real time. Then he's brought in at the end to confirm the reality that they want to confirm. You're not fooling.
And of course, he's just saying what essentially told to say in that moment.
But there was nothing for a long time in real time. There was
right.
3 or 4 plays happen by the time we get Mean Gene on what, you know what I mean, on the first one. And then there's another pause on the last one.
Yeah, in a lot of those situations throughout the game, and he's on top of it immediately. If the refs are going to change the way they decide to start officiating in overtime, like that needs to be, they need to let players know that. They need to let the coaches know that, like, hey, we're going to call things a little bit tighter here in overtime. One, they shouldn't be doing that in the first place, but like, at least give everyone a heads up if all of a sudden you're going to be changing the way you decide to call the game that you've called for the last 3 hours. Plus, I mean, don't these TV, like, you have an overtime game in the playoffs with Josh Allen, like, eyeballs are going to be on that game. People are going to leave their TVs on. Ads are going to be going.
After this one. Hey, McDermott, if you'd have been in the night window, and we didn't have another game to go through, and we wanted to take this through the local news on the East Coast, guess what, man? That might have been a 3-minute delay. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, call me a cynic, but that's what's going through my mind. I wonder how this would go down if this was the second game and not the first game, and they didn't have another game to get to.
Right. All right, well, let's talk about that other game that they had to get to. And I mean, I think after seeing what happened in that game, like, you kind of wish you could have watched a little bit longer of Bills and Broncos, because this game was essentially over before it even started. Seattle Seahawks kickoff return, Rashid Shaheed to the house. I mean, it's 7-0 early, 17-0 after the first quarter. I mean, the Seahawks are up massive in the first half, and San Francisco just, I mean, it's the season San Francisco's had all year, with players just dropping like flies. You had Jake Tonjes go out for part of the game. Christian McCaffrey banged up. He had a stinger in the second half. He played through it, but he did not look normal. Brock Purdy, an interception. Like, it was, and credit to Seattle. I mean, their defense was everywhere. And Sam Darnold, for all the talk that we had this week about the oblique and he hadn't thrown a pass since Wednesday, I mean, you take that shot, and Sam Darnold, he was feeling pretty good and looked really good. Kenneth Walker, he also had 116 yards. Like, this team was legit yesterday. And I think they showed a lot of people who have maybe been doubting them throughout the year, like, we are for real.
Yeah, I mean, if the Niners want to play the injury game, I mean, who's to stop them? It's Kyle plays the hits, which is firing defensive coordinators and blaming injuries when he pees down his leg in January or February, and everybody in the media will defend him, and he's the greatest coach in the world. That he really is. I don't know. I mean, some of the trickeration early in the game, like, I thought he called a crap game. I thought, going off on a reserve defensive back on the sidelines in the first quarter is probably a pretty good indication that you're a choking ass dog as a head coach. Losing your stuff 8 minutes into that game. They're not a good team. They beat bad teams, and they beat bad teams well enough.
They had the easiest schedule all year long.
Bro, I mean, they ran McCaffrey couldn't run the ball all year. Their offensive line couldn't run the ball all year, but they still made him touch the ball a million times to get here. Well, of course he was going to have nothing left in the tank against a real defense late. They better take a real hard look this offseason about what they can or can't do short and long term without Christian McCaffrey being a dominant player. He's a plow horse now. He's a workhorse. He's not a difference maker. Like, you going to ride another year with Trent Williams? Okay. Kittle, they gave a contract to when they didn't have to, and he's a hell of a player. That's going to be a hell of a recovery from an injury that happened really late in the year at this stage of his career for a man who carries that much weight. The Ayuk situation obviously has been poisoned almost from the moment. It was poisoned before he signed the extension. It was an extension of convenience. That's a problem. Is Pearsall ever going to stay on the field? What's the $60 million quarterback going to look like if it's not great pieces around him? And the defense needs to be rebuilt. I mean, secondary is a sham, whether the D coordinator stays or goes. And they couldn't stop the run all year. I mean, there's ways to scheme up stopping the run. So I think their window is closed, but whatever.
I mean, you could have argued that their window was closing to start this season too, and they made a whole lot more of the season than
I thought it was
they
close coming into
probably
the year.
even should have.
I was on
Yeah.
them to miss the playoffs. I mean, and they got in, but how did they get in? And can they do that again? I doubt it.
Yeah, that's going to be hard to repeat, especially with a lot of those names and the unknowns that we have around them. But yeah, Seattle moves along to the NFC Championship game. They'll find out later today who they play between the Bears and the Rams. We will continue to break down these games as the show goes on. But coming up next, we got to talk a little bit about the coaching carousel. John Harbaugh going to the Giants. Kevin Stefanski hired yesterday by the Atlanta Falcons. What do we think of all of those? That's next here on BetMGM Game Day.
BetMGM Game Day. The action starts here. Westwood One Sports. conversation rolls on with BetMGM Game Day, right here on Westwood One Sports.
In Seattle, Rashid Shaheed drifting to his right. He'll field the kickoff on the 4. Shaheed to the 15, across the 20. Veers left to the 25, a hole at the 30. Steps through a tackle at the 40. Stumbles across midfield. Down the right sideline to the 30. Shaheed to the 20. He's all the way home. A Seattle touchdown on the opening kickoff. 6-0 Seahawks.
Rashid Shaheed touchdown to start the game. That's Kevin Kugler, Derek Rackley on the call for Westwood One yesterday. Mike McDonald, one coach that is not in jeopardy of losing his job anytime soon. He's had a hell of a first 2 years in Seattle. The coaching job he's done there has his team in the NFC Championship game coming up. And we'll find out who they play. Rams and Bears, that game's later tonight. About 30 minutes from now, we will discuss that one in depth and dive deep into what bets we like in that game. But for now, Jason, we've had a lot of news in the NFL outside of what's going on in these actual games. Yeah. The coaching carousel is in full swing. We still have 7 head coaching vacancies right now. That's Baltimore, Pittsburgh, which, those are 2 names that have not had head coaching vacancies in, let me tell you, quite some time. You have Miami Dolphins, you have the Browns, the Titans, the Raiders, and the Cardinals. Those teams we've had openings a little bit more recent than Pittsburgh and Baltimore. The biggest splash last week, one, Mike Tomlin deciding to I was going to say retire. He's not deciding fully, but step down his role with the Patriots. He's going to take a year off. He's probably going to do TV, and he'll be phenomenal at it. But that leaves a hole for Pittsburgh. And then you have John Harbaugh, who was fired by the Ravens, but is now the head coach of the Giants. And I think for the Giants, that is one hell of a get. They finally have a head coach that has a long history of winning and building a good culture. And that's what, more so than anything, that's what the Giants need, is someone to come in and build that culture up to where it's sustainable for years to come and not turnover every couple years. That's been an issue here. He has Jackson Dart as his quarterback, clearly liked what he saw there. Otherwise, I don't know why you'd take a job if you don't really like the quarterback, especially being a rookie that you have and are going to have going forward. So John Harbaugh, to the Giants, is that a home run hire for you?
Well, it's a necessary course correction for a franchise that's been a joke in terms of their hiring practices for a long time. They haven't really had a proven NFL head coach at the helm since they pushed Tom Coughlin out of the building. That's a long time ago, and I've done studies on it, wrote about it. The Washington Post. You look at how the Mara family, and then Tisch joins the fray, how they've handled these hires. They've been overly influenced by people like Bill Belichick. They've had Patriots sort of cast-offs foisted upon them that they've been oh so willing to take on, the Joe Judges of the world. They've been trying to do it their way, and it hasn't worked. So getting the best guy, the industry standard perceived best guy available, made a lot of sense for them. Putting on the full court press and making sure you get the first head-to-head meeting with him. Like, whoever got to him first and wined him, dined him, whether it was the Giants or Arthur Blank in Atlanta, was probably going to get him. There weren't going to be 3 or 4 face-to-faces here. There were going to be 1 or 2, and maybe just 1 if you get the first one and handle your business correctly. Because of how Harbaugh's wired, and because he was only going to talk to, out of the 7 or 8, the 2 or 3 he would really go to. And so the Giants got it done, and good for them. He's an adult. He understands coaching. A lot of us focus on game management, and rightfully so. And is he a master tactician? He's not. But can he keep a building together Monday through Saturday and keep guys focused? Even this year, as his message war sort of started to ring a little hollow in Baltimore. To last 18 years, you're doing a lot of things right from Monday to Saturday to get your team to the game on Sunday. And he understands all of that. And he understands when I've got to clean up a mess for the personnel department. He understands how to put out fires behind closed doors. Now, he's also stubborn as a mule and too loyal to too many people. He was too loyal to his strength coaches in Baltimore. He was too loyal to some of his assistant coaches in Baltimore. Hiring Zach Orr as his defensive coordinator was probably the last nail in his time here in Baltimore. But like a lot of things that you take for granted when you have a coach for 18 years, and I think they're about to experience the reciprocation of this in Baltimore, where they're going to hire a first-time guy who's over his head. And then you're going to watch a dude who can't get through a press conference without sounding like a buffoon. You're going to watch a dude get unmasked in his first, 6-8 games. You're going to watch a dude in real time trying to figure out how to delegate responsibility. Like you're going to watch a guy swallowed up by his own play sheet while the game is unfolding, and he's a passenger. He's not driving that game. He's not directing that game. He's a passenger. All those things that have plagued places like New York. Like he's going to go there with a legit staff. I mean, Todd Monken's going to run the offense, and I'd be surprised. I don't think Monken's getting a head coaching job. So you have Todd Monken with Jackson Dart. That's a home run. Yeah. Whether it's Denard Wilson running the defense or Anthony Weaver running the defense, I guess it could be maybe somebody else. That's going to be pretty. That's going to be pretty locked down. It's going to be a higher caliber of professionalism and a better across the board sort of stockade of coaches than they've had in New York in such a long time. And that's what you get. Like if he does lose it, because they will, because all these guys are wired a little crazy, and does some stuff maybe at a press conference setting that he regrets, he will call that person. And then he and that person might scream at each other for 35, 40 minutes. And then he might call that person again after he leaves Mass 2 days later and then have a true sort of human conversation where you put that stuff to bed. He understands all that. And so the people are like, oh, the New York market's going to be different for me. I mean, it will and it won't. That New York market, when they see that this guy's an actual full-blown adult who can do the job, are going to give him such a leeway. He's going to be given,
he's going to be given a big-time pass on a lot of things.
Years. Yes, because this guy has won. Look at him. He's going to go down as one of the 5 winningest coaches in NFL history. That's not all because of Lamar Jackson. That's not all just circumstance and happenstance and good luck. No. I mean, look at his brother. Look at his dad. They're a coaching family, man. He was born for this. So, and I don't think the division's great. Is Sirianni even going to be in Philadelphia at this time next year? That's not a given. Ask Doug Peterson. Dallas is a joke, and Washington should have fired the head coach. John Harbaugh should be in Washington. If Washington had a clue, they'd be like, well, we've emasculated Dan Quinn and we've gutted his staff. So why don't we just get rid of Dan Quinn and his antiquated cover 3 stuff that we don't have the personnel to play anyway? And let's go get John Harbaugh. And let's get Todd Monken with Jaden Daniels. Woo! Right? And he can bring Denard Wilson, who's from PG County, where the stadium is, grew up a R-Skins fan, went to the University of Maryland. We get Denard as the D coordinator, Monken as the offensive coordinator, John Harbaugh as the head coach. We're getting that new stadium built. Let's go. Now they're going to fire Dan Quinn next year because this hodgepodge isn't going to work. And Daniels is going to be ready for a new contract. But what's that look like? So that's the division he's going into. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be just fine. I don't know that he's winning a Super Bowl there. But he's perfect fit for them. I mean, he has the look, everything. He and Stefanski, one of those two were going to the Giants. Period. Those guys, that's what John Mara thinks New York Football Giants head coaches look like. And we could do hours on that and what I'm connoting there and what goes into that and infer what you will. But one of those two guys, and look, they liked Marcus Freeman. They took something of a shot there. But with the way this market set up, all these jobs open, most of those places garbage. The best guy is leaving Baltimore, so the best guy's not going to the best opening because the best guy just left there. They were going to get one of those two.
They get Harbaugh. Stefanski, as of yesterday, goes to the Atlanta Falcons. So the offensive mastermind that Kevin Stefanski is oftentimes called, whether or not you believe that, gets Michael Penix Jr. and Kirk Cousins to work with. I don't know what's going to happen with Kirk, if he'll still be there, what they're going to do with him. But Stefanski's coached Cousins before.
Cousins.
There's some familiarity there.
look, that division is right there for the taking.
Yeah.
And this is another guy who has some faults and flaws. I don't think he'll go down as what he was billed as when he went to Cleveland. But he can take bullets for the young, basically, head of football ops there, which is Matt Ryan. He can be the face of this thing. He's an adult, and he knows how to put teams in positions to compete, even if they don't have the best quarterback that day or the best roster that day. He can coach in this league. He can win games in this league. They've got a lot of offensive talent. Can he bring Jimmy Schwartz with him and get Jimmy Schwartz to make that defense take the next step? He's going to fight like hell for him. Now Schwartz is in demand all over the place. Schwartz might get a head coaching job. But yeah, I think Atlanta was the second best job. Arthur Blank, like at this stage of his career, especially, I think you're going to get a blank checkbook from Arthur Blank. I think you're going to get him fully committed, but also delegated enough that he's going to give you what you need. Matt Ryan's going to be a blank slate. He's not going to force things on you. He's not going to over push the analytics. He's not going to try to pick your staff for you. And I think he'll be a really good conduit for you as the head coach and the owner, a go-between. The fact that they got Rich McKay out of that building finally, out of football operations, is a huge win for whoever their next head coach was going to be. And they also blew up the personnel department. So you're going to have a little bit of a say in stocking that. And that's a team that could have won the division this year, despite everything.
Yeah.
And you could build Penix up on the other side of this. And in the short term, I think they could win 9 or 10 games with Kirk Cousins next year and win the division.
And hopefully you utilize Bijan Robinson a little bit better than he has been over the past couple seasons as well, because you have a massive weapon in Bijan Robinson.
Well,
so we talk about Stefanski.
Zach Robinson, like you've gone from Zach Robinson shepherding that offense to Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, it's fancy.
That's a major.
It's a pretty,
and whoever he brings with his staff or whatever else he brings. And the quarterback, the Cousins Zach Robinson relationship was flawed and it was bad from the get. Well, not from the giddy up, but from about 6 or 8 weeks in. So
those two never quite saw eye to eye on how that offense was run.
Well, and he got the Achilles thing, and it's like, why are you putting me in the pistol? And, well, I don't think you can backpedal on from under center. Well, why don't you let me try? I'd really rather take these play action shots from under center. I haven't been in the pistol my whole life. Like, Stefanski will understand how to handle that situation.
Scrolling through Twitter, just with the hashtag of Kevin Stefanski and seeing what sentiment, fans don't seem too pleased with the hire. I think it's a good hire for him. Look what he did in 2023 with Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, PJ. Like he's done a whole lot with a lot less. 11-6 in that season, 2-time coach of the year. The other openings that we still have, I ran through those. Matt Nagy, reportedly the Titans' top head coach. So the OC from Kansas City and former Bears head coach Matt Nagy might be getting his second opportunity as a head coach in this league. You also have Brian Flores, defensive coordinator for Minnesota. That's generating some buzz places. Clint Kubiak. Let's see how the rest of the season ends up and what that looks like for him. McDaniel's still out there. Mike McCarthy, Robert Saleh. He's done with the season as of yesterday. Does he get another head coaching job? So we'll keep an eye on all of this. Matt LaFleur also signed an extension in Green Bay. That was another piece of news that dropped just a couple days ago. As a Bears fan, I'm glad that Matt LaFleur is still in Green Bay. I think that's perfect for the Packers going forward.
Good for the rivalry.
It's great for the rivalry. And hey, Ben Johnson really enjoys beating Matt LaFleur twice a year, and I enjoy that for Ben Johnson. Coming up on the other side, we'll play a little game of Which Is More. That's next. BetMGM Game Day coming your way on Westwood One Sports.
This is BetMGM Game Day on Westwood One Sports. breaking down the biggest games and the smartest angles. This is BetMGM Game Day on Westwood One Sports.
Jason Lockenford, Kate Constantoli here with you on BetMGM Game Day. We are talking Sunday's divisional round matchups. We have the Bears and Rams on Sunday night later this evening. Texans and Pats, two great defensive teams battling in the afternoon window. We will break down Texans and Pats coming up about 20 minutes from now. But until then, we have a fun little game that we're going to play that gets you ready for some of these matchups and also, just some news around sports in general. To do so, we're going to bring in our executive producer, Brandon Combs. Brandon, good morning.
Good morning, Kate. Good morning, JLC. Man, what a day yesterday. I'm pumped for today, though. I can't wait. I have Texans Bears in the Super Bowl, so we'll see.
So you got a lot riding on this afternoon, what you're telling us. Somehow that's not a surprise.
No, there might be 5 or 6, 10-leg parlays on 2 games. I don't know. There might be. All right, let's play a game of which is more. Let's start here. In JLC, this one I made just for you, buddy.
Okay.
Today's touchdowns in both games or combined goals in the 4 Bundesliga and EPL matchups.
Whoa.
Which is more?
Okay. All right, so we've got Stuttgart, who I like.
I'm glad you're starting with Jason.
And we're on them. Union Berlin going to Stuttgart. We are on Stuttgart on the money line. Minus 150 is the best we found it. And I think we could get. I think that's like a 2-1 type proposition. Stuttgart, though, pretty tight, pretty stingy at home. So maybe that's more like a 2-0. Then what is the other one? Is it Augsburg and Freiburg or something like that? I'm not on the other Bundesliga game. Are we sure? Well, oh no, this is early enough in the show because some of these kick off at 9:30. So
it is.
I don't think that's
the other.
I don't think there's a lot of goals in that one.
Yeah, Augsburg and Freiburg.
All right, yeah, so I got no notes. Did I know this was coming? No, I did not know. Well, and look, if I read the rundown, would I have known this is coming? Probably. But there's a lot going on. I didn't rundown. I like to fly by the seat of my pants. We're not on that Augsburg-Freiburg match, but I don't think there'll be a lot of goals. We do like Newcastle laying 1 at Wolverhampton. I think they can go to Molineux and win 2-0. Wolverhampton, 1 win at home all season, guys. They played 10 matches. They have only kept 1 clean sheet at home as well, which means they do concede. I'm thinking we get 2 goals in that match. If you made me play an over-under on that match, I'd probably go under the 2.5. Villa at Everton. I think the Villains can do some damage here. We'll talk about that show in depth on Wannabet at 11 a.m., wannabetwithus.com. So I'm not going to give too much away on that one. You want to know total touchdowns in these 2 games versus total goals in these 4 matches.
Correct.
I'm going to go the footy just because it's been bonkers in the Bundesliga, and the Bundesliga is the highest scoring league pretty much in Europe anyway. And they're fresh off the Christmas break where everybody got 3 weeks off. And so I've been on a lot of overs lately. And even though I'm not so sure about that Freiburg match, I haven't done a ton of work on that match. And that could end up being 2-2 or something like that. So I'm going to go more goals. I don't think there's a lot of touchdowns in Houston and New England. I don't have any anytime touchdowns there. And I think it's an over game in Chicago. I don't think the weather's going to be that huge of a factor, but I'm going to go with the footy.
I couldn't tell you a single thing about the Bundesliga. In fact, I didn't even really know how to say it because Jason always says it with a German accent every time and yells it, and I just don't.
Bundesliga!
Exactly. And so I can't in good faith say that the Bundesliga is going to be the highest.
Kate. Let's go as a team. Let's attack him as a team.
Fine.
Just come on, team
okay.
Bundesliga.
Twist my arm.
Come on over.
But I was going to say, I don't think we get many touchdowns in Texans Patriots. So, you have a 2-2 game in one of those football games, and that's likely more. So I'll go with Jason and the Bundesliga.
I don't eat the red meat anymore, but the currywurst is really good over here. The frankfurters are very good on this side. Doner kebab, we make a mean doner kebab.
Pretzels,
come over to
right?
come over to the
Good
Bundesliga
pretzels.
side.
All right.
Absolutely.
I was gonna
Blow
go
your mind.
with JLC
Blow
too,
your
but
mind.
then he told me he doesn't read my rundown that I work so hard on and throw out to you every
Keeping it real,
Friday.
homie.
So
I mean, I peruse it, but I don't. I mean, I make sure I receive the right one. I peruse it.
yeah. Well, let's
Hey,
go
I
out
got
to
you
Los
covered,
Angeles.
Jason. That's why we're a team.
We can't stay in Germany. Come on, ask me another Bundesliga.
No, let's go to Los Angeles. We got Matthew Stafford's passer rating tonight in the cold in Chicago, or Dodgers wins this season. Kate,
Well, this is a long.
which is more?
We're playing the long game here. We're waiting a while to pay this one off.
Yeah. I mean, the Dodgers' entire starting lineup is all stars. They're going to win games this year. I think I have to go with the Dodgers. Just sign Kyle Tucker. I mean, we're going to have a lockout in 2 years, essentially because of what the Dodgers have been doing. Like, I think we have to go Dodgers winning more games. And then Matthew Stafford's pass rating, especially. We'll talk about the weather. I don't think it's that big of a deal for Matthew Stafford. He can play in the cold.
Yeah.
But we'll go with the Dodgers wins this season over Stafford's passer rating tonight.
I'm a full-fledged member of the Ramily, and more to the point, my wallet is a full-fledged member of the Ramily. So I think Matt Stafford could easily have a QB rating today of like 117.9. I mean, the Dodgers winning 120 games. Are they going to have a 750 winning percentage? I mean, what are we talking about here? Dudes will get hurt. People got hurt last. If they get Freddie Peralta too, though, mod on. If they get my man Freddie P, forget about it. But I'm going to say Stafford. Stafford might have like a 130.3. The Bears defense sucks. I know you guys are in Chicago and bite my tongue. But like,
we got through two questions. We got through two questions in this game.
I think he's coming for that ass. Slap.
And not only did you tell me you don't read my rundown, but now you're talking about my Bears. So look, you've done a great job of making me angry in two questions of a segment, JLC. You are
Stuttgart.
Boy. Texans, Patriots. How are we betting that game? Who's moving on? We will tell you all of that coming up next. This is BetMGM Game Day with Jason Lockenfora and Kate Constable.
This is BetMGM Game Day, only on Westwood One Sports. game starts now with Jason La Canfora.
I love field goals here. Their offense is broken, and you can correlate it field goal attempts. Like, all they do is kick field goals.
And Kate Constable.
I just think so highly of Kevin O'Connell and what he's able to do with quarterbacks. But Kevin O'Connell has kind of shown us that he can take any quarterback and help them find success.
3 hours, every game, every edge. Your Sunday betting HQ is live. This is BetMGM Game Day on Westwood One Sports.
2 more games today to find out who goes to the NFC Championship and AFC Championship to face the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC and the Bo Nix-less Denver Broncos in the AFC. Bo Nix, the news coming out of the game last night, fractured his foot. He's going to have surgery on Tuesday, and he is done for the year. Excuse me. So backup Jarrett Stidham is now QB1 in Denver. 2 biggest games of his life. Hasn't taken taken 1 snap all season, and it was a kneel down. So not a snap of much importance whatsoever. It'll be an uphill battle for Jarrett Stidham just to even be ready for this game. But Sean Payton seemed to have a lot of faith in his quarterback yesterday, talking at the podium, and I mean, for good reason. You got to instill some faith in the guy going into the week. We'll find out who plays them this afternoon, Jason. We have Pats and Texans. Texans are on the road. They are 3-point underdogs in this game. This kind of comes full circle because Drake May, Patriots quarterback, his first start was against the Houston Texans last year, week 6, a 41-21 loss. He threw 3 touchdowns, was intercepted in that game. But now he faces the Texans in the biggest game of his career quite yet. And the talk about Houston all season, really, and especially the past couple weeks, and after their game last week against the Steelers, is just how good that defense is and its ability to get to the quarterback. Got to Aaron Rodgers with ease. Can it do the same to Drake May? We'll find out later today. But Patriots laying 3 at home, total 40.5. What do you like in this one?
I like the Houston Texans. I think they have the superpower in this game, which is the defense. As long as Stroud doesn't get in the way and mess it up, which that's a big if. That's a significant if. Mm-hmm. I think they can win this game. Low scoring. And I also think if it has to get a little loose, and I don't think it's going to get too loose given the construct of Houston's defense, I still think they can win. I think Houston's defense can frankly, if you told me there's a scenario where, like we were just playing this game, the last segment with Brandon, what is more, defensive touchdowns for the Houston Texans or offensive touchdowns for New England? I could see a world where Houston has 1 and New England has none.
Ooh. I
think Texans are that good. And I think they're built for the road. They're a dome team that's built for the road. Now, the part of that equation that I can't have work against me, and where my fear comes from, is New England's defense might also have a touchdown because Stroud gives them one. And I think it's a close game, so that would be enough to undermine me. I think it's going to be a different test for New England's offensive line, which is a little beat up. And this caliber of pass rusher individually is far more brilliant than what the Chargers do collectively with Minter pulling the strings and scheme. Here you have the master schemer in D'Amico Ryans, but you also have, this ain't Odafe Owe and Khalil Mack. This Hunter and Anderson thing is a whole different animal. And you have to account for both of them all the time. It's not try-hard guys who, think they're going to get paid in free agency. It's dudes. It's dudes with an unreal athletic linebacking core behind them. One of the best shutdown slot guys in the league, maybe the best boundary corner in the NFL. Safeties who understand the assignment. Good luck, brother. Good luck. I think they turned Drake May over. I think Drake May's got to run the ball close to 10 times, maybe more like 14, 15 to keep them in this game. I think his legs will be a big part of this. Even if CJ Stroud ain't right, They trust Fairbairn. Fairbairn, 2 or more made field goals, has cashed 20 of the last 23 games. And when it hasn't cashed, it's been because, like last week, Stroud keeps handing the ball away in the red zone. If it's a battle of field goal kickers, give me Fairbairn, even though you're going to tell me he's the dome kicker, over this kid kicking for New England, who, man, some of those extra points are barely getting over the crossbar. New England is 30th in the NFL in red zone defense. I just tend to think, Kate, that's probably going to rear its ugly head at some point, I think, today. You look at the teams that made the playoffs. The next closest playoff team in terms of deficient red zone defense, Green Bay was 21st. I think that's a problem. New England, even with Drake May, MVP candidate, 17th in red zone offense. If they're settling for 3, they're in trouble. And I don't think, again, they're scoring a whole lot of offensive touchdowns here. Houston's got an interception in 14 of the last 16 games. They have an interception in 6 straight games. 8 total interceptions in that span. They've only allowed 2 or more passing touchdowns in a football game 7 times all year. They've allowed 6 passing touchdowns this season, Kate, in 9 road football games. They've won 10 straight games. They've covered 7 of those. And they are a dead under team on the road. Texans road games average 35.22 total points.
Averaging almost a touchdown fewer than they do at home when they're on the road. Texans offense.
Yeah. Yes. But the defense is even more stingy on the road. I mean, I think it's 13 offensive touchdowns allowed on the road.
Either way, that's a
2 old school coaches. Neither team's going to play with pace. Neither team's going to try to attack you with tempo. Both are content to make this an old school field position, right? Type matchup. Vrabel trusts his quarterback in the end. And they trust Stroud probably more than I trust Stroud. I like the way this shaped up and I thought Houston was going to the Super Bowl. And it's usually not a magic carpet ride for young quarterbacks in the playoffs. It just usually isn't. And May stayed true to the game plan. Love what he did against the Chargers. I don't think that's going to be good enough against this defense. Although, again, from a betting perspective, the way those legs were active early and often has to be. Has to be. I don't see. Like, you're telling me Diggs and Hunter Henry and these guys are going to separate from this super sticky defense that also gets great pressure by bringing 4. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Drake May over his
New
rushing
England's
yards.
running backs, especially Henderson, does put the ball on the ground. So I wonder how much Vrabel takes the explosive guy away because he's worried about the turnover and goes to the plow horse, who will probably fool them on a screen pass or 2. And like Stevenson over long reception. I'm there. I feel you. But I don't think they can run their offense through Stevenson and win this football game. But I also think they may look at that and say, well, let's keep it simple, stupid. The longer we keep it close, maybe Stroud does something stupid. We don't think our guy's going to do something stupid.
I like Drake May over his rushing. I think he uses his legs a ton.
Yes.
35.5 you can get over at BetMGM, up to 37.5 at other places. He does have some mobility, well, quite a bit more mobility than Aaron Rodgers did to kind of evade this Texans defense. Again, I don't think he's going to evade it completely, but he will have a couple scrambles where he gets outside the pocket and makes some things happen with his legs. So over 35.5, I think, is a very doable number. Drake May's rushed for 41 or more yards 3 of the last 5 games. And this is a surprising, because of how good the Texans defense is, but maybe, the pass rush gets there and quarterbacks those mobile quarterbacks can get away from it a little bit, but the Texans allow the second highest yards per rush to opposing quarterbacks during the regular season. It's almost 6.5 yards. So I'm on Drake May over 35.5. Jason, I don't know what to think in this game in terms of the side, but I agree with you and everything you said that this is an under game. I don't see many points in this one. Lowest total we've had in this divisional round, 40.5. And I think it's that way for very good reason, because for as good as the Texans defense is, the Patriots defense is also really good. I mean, go back to week 14. Patriots defense has the best DVOA since week 14. So they haven't been at the top of the league in terms of defensive stats all season long, but over the past couple weeks and when it matters coming into the playoffs, they've certainly been really good. Are they as good as the Texans? Absolutely not. But two of these great defenses. And then you add in the fact that you said you don't fully trust CJ Stroud. I don't fully trust CJ Stroud. Nico Collins is out. So like Christian Kirk is basically the guy for the Texans. What is that offense going to produce? Like, do you just ride Woody Marks all game? Like, there's not a whole lot.
I think the tight ends are going to show up. I don't love Schultz, and but I think the tight ends are going to have to step up here. And I think the tight ends will. And I think the seam routes is something that Stroud likes doing. They're without their best outside receiver now. I think it's going to maybe create a little bit of a tight end funnel. And yeah, like Woody Marks might catch 7 or 8 balls in this game.
Yeah.
But I just don't see the individual brilliance on that Patriots defense, which has been really sound. Vrabel knows how to coach it up, and it's smart. It's well run. But now Gonzalez is dinged up too. I mean, if like Gonzalez isn't Gonzalez, and Nico Collins doesn't play anyway, so the guy who you would want him to smother isn't even in the game. I mean, I don't know. Is that a net positive for Houston? I don't know. Like Gonzalez, that looked bad last week. So
they say defense wins championships.
Offensive line. What's that?
They say defense wins championships. Houston has the best defense in the playoffs.
Like this could be 16-9, and the only touchdown could be defense or special teams. Like that script.
Yeah.
I wouldn't flinch. I mean, look, the Eagles had offensive brilliance last year, but we've seen these Eagles teams have stretches where the quarterback isn't right and the go-to guys in the offense, and in this case, Collins isn't even playing, don't get fed, but the defense is so good that it doesn't matter, and they keep putting the offense in great situations. And if you have a good kicker, you can win that way. And I think this Texans defense is certainly as good as what Fangio had cooking late last year, where they shut down. Well, they didn't shut down. Stafford put up 400 yards on them, but they survived the Rams, and then they did the job on Jaden Daniels, who at that time was playing ridiculous football. And then they tore Patrick Mahomes' face off in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I think this team can. I think that this Texans team can do that. And you're telling me Drake May in his second playoff game? I think they'll be up for the assignment. I think they can neuter him enough. And again, he doesn't have matchup dudes in the red zone. He doesn't have dudes who just naturally win for him in the red zone. It's uncharted territory for him. His legs can do a lot, and his legs might have to do it all. But I think he's getting turned over today, and he might get turned over more than once.
Drake May interception. Do you have that line in front of you by chance?
Well, I've parlayed it with rushing attempts. I've parlayed it with rushing yards. I think there's a little bit of a correlation there. I haven't played it by itself, but I have it in at least 3 parlays that I got on early in the week. I have it correlated to the under.
It's even money right now for him to have an interception. I mean, that's a great price. Minus 130 to the no interception today. Yeah. Against this defense, that's really surprising. That's really surprising. Right now.
Yeah, Houston, since the start of last season, leads the NFL in interceptions. They have an interception of 14 in the last 16. They have an interception in 6 straight games, 8 total in that span.
Yeah.
and they're particularly stingy on the road. So, and he doesn't have dudes who can naturally win for him, so he may have to force some things. I also think you've got the specter of tip balls, deflections. And I don't think they're going to be able to just grind it out. I think there's going to have to be some volume in the pass game. So, yes, I have interceptions,
Texans,
and I've got it.
Texans are plus 260 right now to win the AFC Championship. Broncos plus 170. Makes sense that they're ahead, even with Nick's out, just because they've already punched their ticket to the AFC Championship game. And then the New England Patriots plus 130. So Texans, not exactly the long shot, but the longest odds so far in the AFC Championship to make it to the conference, to win the conference title and make it to the Super Bowl. All right, we still have one more game later this evening that we have not discussed yet. We will break down that game next. The Los Angeles Rams travel to the frigid cold of Chicago to take on the Cardiac Bears. That game coming your way next here on BetMGM Game Day.
This is BetMGM Game Day, only on Westwood One Sports. The breakdowns, the big games. BetMGM Game Day continues on Westwood One Sports.
First down and 10. Williams will line up in the shotgun. He's got Swift to his left. 3 receivers out to the left side of the formation. Burden in short motion. Williams gets the snap. 4-man rush. Pumps to his left. Goes deep. Got a man open. It's Moore. He's got it. Into the end zone. Touchdown Bears. Touchdown Bears. DJ Moore. Caleb Williams with a strike. And the Bears have taken the lead with 1:43 to go. A 25-yard touchdown. And the Bears lead 30-27.
I think you might be on mute, Kate.
Yep, that's throw the flag for me right there. That call was courtesy of Westwood One. Caleb Williams to DJ Moore, game-winning touchdown against the Packers in the wild card round. Remember over at BetMGM, biggest games of the year kicking off, 2 of them this afternoon. You have a odds boost token that you can use over at BetMGM. You score a bigger payout if your pro football bet wins. So as we're going through these games, if anything stands out that Jason and I tell you we really like, go over to BetMGM. Use your pro football boost and get a bigger payout. I'm not going to say if those bets win, Jason. I'm going to say when those bets win, because that's what we're trying to do here. Yep, exactly. We just talked about Texans and Patriots. That's the early game today. The late game, Sunday Night Football. Los Angeles Rams traveling to Chicago, taking on the Bears. This line has been fluctuating throughout the week. Open 4.5. We got down to 3.5. We're back at 4 right now on BetMGM. The total is 48.5. The weather is the big conversation in this game, is that it's freezing here in Chicago. It's single digits, 19 degrees. That's not quite single, is expected. But with the wind chill, we're down to single digits and possibly even in the negative. So the Rams are coming from sunny California where it's 80 degrees. It's nice and comfortable. Bears have been practicing in this weather all week. Ben Johnson does not allow heaters at practice, so they've been braving the elements, and they played in this all season long. Jason, I don't really care. I don't think this is a factor as much as people are talking about it. Matthew Stafford, let's not forget, played in this division for how many seasons? I know he was a dome quarterback in Detroit where, Ford Field is a dome, but you still went outside to Lambeau. You still went outside to Chicago. You still went out there was a year or two where when Minnesota was building the new stadium, they played at the Minnesota Gophers Stadium. That was outside. So
that's right.
There have been plenty of cold weather games. And if you think back to last postseason, Matthew Stafford went to Philadelphia where it was snowy and cold and threw for 324 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lost the game. He was just fine in that cold weather. So I'm a little bit more worried about maybe some of the other players on the Rams. I'm not worried about Stafford at all. And he's the most important player on the Rams.
Yeah, he's played January games in Chicago, in Green Bay. Devontae Adams spent most of his career in Green Bay.
Exactly.
You think Puka Nacua cares it's cold out?
Puka Nacua, no.
Guy's a beast. I mean, you could tell me, he's a warm weather guy. Stop. He's a dog.
Puka's going to play hard regardless. He doesn't care. He's one of those kind of freaks that
offensive linemen, most of them come from the Big Ten. They've played in cold. Blake Corum, Michigan. I don't, Tyron Williams, Notre Dame, right? Yeah, I don't think it's slick ball, ice, precipitation, especially with maybe something going on with the tip of Stafford's finger. That's what would concern me. Extreme wind, big difference than extreme cold. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be fun for these guys, and I don't want to minimize what they're going through, but I believe in the power of the scuba suit. I believe Sean McVay knows how to call a cold weather game. And to your point, they faced a far more potent defense in Philadelphia last year at the height of Vic Fangio's prowess.
Right. Is the scuba suit thing real?
Yeah.
He really wears a scuba suit under his uniform?
I think he's wearing one. Yeah. They're bringing all these extra cold weather, it's layers, but it's certain kind of layers.
Yeah.
That are breathable enough, but So
you got to
whatever.
stay
They
dry
know- they
under all of
understand-
that throughout the
yeah,
game.
they
That's kind of the
understand
key. Yeah.
science. Yeah. They
Okay.
understand the science to that. Glove, no glove, all that stuff. Like it does matter, certainly a little bit. But if the Rams lose this game, it'll be because the Rams ram it up. Somebody doesn't cover,
Mm-hmm.
an onside kick, or somebody muffs a punt, or it'll just, it's the way they find ways to lose games. But they put up like 420 yards on that Fangio thing a year ago in an ice and snowstorm. I think they're going to get theirs against this defense that is not good. The question is the Rams defense, which in the second half of the year hasn't been good and has been hemorrhaging points and hemorrhaging passing touchdowns and hemorrhaging yards. And now you got their young alleged boy wonder coordinator, Chris Shula, interviewing for all these jobs this week.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be able to rein Caleb in at all? I think it's a dead over game, Kate. I loved it at 51.5 when it opened, but I didn't play it there because I'm like, well, everybody's going to freak out about the weather. So let's let it keep coming down. And then we'll play both quarterbacks to have a day and tag that to the over. Puka to have a day and maybe even put that in a parlay and tag that to the over. I think both these defenses are in trouble. Now, I think the Rams have the better defense with the better defensive talent, but I'm not sure how that's going to manifest itself because they've let some bad habits seep in. But Matt Stafford's been here before, and Caleb hasn't. And Sean McVay's been here before, and Ben Johnson hasn't. And the Rams have been the number one road offense in the NFL all year. And they're not playing in domes all the time. So I think a lot of that's going to carry here. And if it is a race to 34 or 37 or whatever, you're not going to get me to put my money on somebody else in this scenario other than what I've seen from this Rams team. So I think the Rams go over for an 8th straight game. The previous 7 games have all produced at least 51 points. I think we're getting that again, Kate. I think Stafford's throwing for 275 and at least 2 touchdowns and probably 3. I think Caleb is running and throwing combined for at least 250 and throwing for 2. I think Puka eats. The rest of the Rams offense could be anybody at any given time. I don't know. Is Adams really in better form? What's that hamstring going to be like in this extreme cold? I don't know. But this Rams, this Chicago defense has allowed 296 or more passing yards 3 straight games. They've allowed 3 or more passing touchdowns 3 of the last 6. They don't have a pass rush. They don't have sticky coverage guys. They rely on turnovers and takeaways. And maybe they get them. And maybe the magic carpet ride continues. But for me, I think this is where the story ends.
It's hard to see it continuing. It has been a great story. It's been so fun. I mean, the city is absolutely alive here in Chicago. Fans are reinvigorated. But it's like you can't put up the performance, especially the first half performance that you had against the Packers against this Rams team. Because Matthew Stafford will bury you. He will not allow you to come back. Sean McVay will not allow you to climb back in this game. I think both of those, player and coach, are better than LaFleur and Love, that duo. So I don't think you don't get the mistakes or the play calling that the Packers had in that second half to even allow the Bears back into the game. I am a little worried, and I mean, this is more just lends itself to the over, which I'm on with you, is that the Rams secondary, I mean, it's kind of made Bryce Young twice this year look pretty good, right?
Yes.
So like you have Bryce Young and Caleb Williams. I'll take Caleb over Bryce Young, and Bryce looked good against this Rams defense. So I think, to your point of the overs for Caleb, great call. Overs on the game, great call. What the Bears need and what the Bears have needed all season long and what they've relied on is those takeaways, because in this season for losses for Matthew Stafford and the Rams, 6 of Stafford's 8 interceptions have come in losses. He has 1 week 3 against Philly, 2 week 13 against the Panthers, 3 week 17 against the Falcons. Those were all losses. So like that's the path. And that, I mean, it's no rocket science. The path to winning games is, limiting possessions for other teams and capitalizing on extra possessions on your side. So I also think we need to worry a little bit, Jason, about Ozzie Trapillo, the left tackle for the Bears, being out. That's a big factor. And I mean, that's not even getting talked about quite as much as the cold weather. But like Ozzie Trapillo has been great at left tackle down the stretch. I know it was a revolving door early on in the season, so maybe they feel fine rotating other players in there. But I'm with you that I'm concerned for the Bears continuing this magic carpet ride here against Matthew Stafford. I think this is a Rams win today, but my play in this one is the over. Also, Puka Nacua, you get Nacua at -110 for an anytime touchdown. I'm sorry, but that's a good price for Nacua. Scored in 4 straight games, especially you mentioned the Devontae Adams hamstring in this cold. That's concerning. I mean, does that tighten up at any point throughout the game? Take him out. So Nacua, anytime touchdown, and the over. My 2 plays in this one.
Yeah, I like Nacua anytime touchdown and 100 or more receiving yards. I think, I mean, Stafford last week, Adams isn't right. They're doing a decent job on the tight ends. They can't throw outside, whether that's Stafford's finger or not. And then it just ends up being Nacua on a million crossers. I don't think the Bears can take it away. I don't think they have the pass rush to take it away. And to your point about the left tackle, I think the Rams will heat up Caleb. The thing about Caleb is sometimes his individual brilliance is even at its best when you heat him up. So I think that'll factor into the game outcome, but it doesn't scare me off any of his passing and rushing overs because he's so good in those situations. I mean, I think the Rams are the better team. For me, if the Rams lose this game, there will be a boneheaded mistake on offense, and they will pee down their leg on special teams. I don't trust their kicker. I don't trust their special teams unit, even after firing the special teams coach. That's where my concern, my biggest, deepest concerns lie with this bet. That family tree. We just saw it last night with Shanahan, the opening kick. We saw it with LaFleur, and they can't field a 2-point. That family tree has a special teams bugaboo. Like, it just does. And it tends to show up in the biggest times possible. Part of the reason I was on last night, you can go to my Twitter, gave out one play. I don't do a lot of first touchdowns. I had one first touchdown play this whole weekend. Seattle defense special teams first touchdown, 22-1.
Woo!
Because because Shaheed is special. Because Purdy just threw a pick on the first script. Because there's no Kittle, so they'll force feed Tonjes, who can be a turnover problem. You saw a fumble. Because Shaheed on special teams versus Shanahan's kickoff units. And that's what scares me. That's like I'm on my hedge on this game is I'm on Chicago defense special teams touchdown. Best I found it was +600. I don't know about the first one, but could Devin Duvernay take something to the house against these guys? Absolutely.
Sure. Especially with tackling being affected by the cold,
I don't want to wish it into existence, but we've seen this with the Rams before. Could their not that capable field goal kicker have something blocked and taken to the house on the other end? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the kicking game is going to be affected by the cold.
Philadelphia earlier this year.
And the tackling game that gets a little bit tighter, a little bit more difficult when guys don't wrap up quite as well when it's cold. So, you get a pick six, something like that to the house. I kind of like that for a defensive touchdown in this one. 22-1 yesterday for Seattle, Jason. That's pretty good.
Last night was very good. Should have been better. If Tonja stays in that game, if it's not such a blowout, we get the 20-yard carry from Walker. And I'm still shocked at Myers. I mean, San Francisco, that was pretty listless. Like, usually when it's 34-6 and you get the ball in plus territory, and everybody knows you're going to run it 3 times, like you get a stop and they kick the field goal. In this case, Walker, 10 yards, 11 yards, 12 yards, 13-yard touchdown, house call. All right. Myers' 3 field goals was like plus 287.
Bears 7-1 right now to win the NFC championship. That's the longest by far of any team. Rams plus 190, Seattle minus 150. But again, the Houston Texans are the long shot in the AFC, and they're only plus 260. So despite the Bears getting to this point and winning as many games as they have, it's the fashion in which they do it. At some point, the Magic's gonna run out. You would have to believe, but then again, Jason, I feel like that's what we said last week. That's what we said a lot throughout the regular season for this Bears team. So you just kind of can't count them out until they're officially dead. But 7-1 to win the NFC Championship.
And I don't mean to. I don't think it's going to be easy street for the Rams at all. I don't think this is anything like last night. I think this is a battle, but I think it might come down to the last possession, and I think it's going to be Stafford. And they better get a touchdown. Don't count on that kicker. Like, he finished the drive.
Yeah,
finished the drive.
Special teams.
But I think the Rams can make one more play on offense than the Bears. But I'm not saying that like it's my lock of the center. First of all, I don't talk like that to begin with. But like I don't think it's easy street by any stretch of the imagination.
No, not at all. And the money coming back in on the Rams, telling you where some of the sharps are, moving that line from 3.5 back to 4. Conference championship game previews. Depending on who wins today, they'll face either the Seahawks or the Broncos. Who has the best chance of then making it to the Super Bowl? We will talk about that next here on BetMGM Game Day with Jason Lockenfora and Kate Constable.
BetMGM Game Day. Make it legendary on Westwood One Sports. The weekend starts now with BetMGM Game Day on Westwood One Sports.
There's a line drive down the middle, intercepted at the 50 and picked off on the play by Bullock. He's down the far side 30, far side 20, down the far sideline 10, 5, touchdown. Rodgers has thrown a pick 6.
The great Kevin Harlan on the call for Westwood One, a Bullock pick 6 last week for the Houston Texans. Texans in action this afternoon, the early afternoon game. Only 2 games today, but the 3:30 Central game, Texans at Patriots. Then we have Bears and Rams coming your way for the nightcap. We just broke down both of those games in depth, gave out a couple bets that we like in those, but now we kind of have to turn our attention to what happens, scenarios depending on which team wins today. And about 20 minutes from now, as a reminder, Buffalo Bills sideline reporter Maddie Glab is going to join us on the phone and tell us what went wrong yesterday for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills and what might be coming next. But for now, Jason, it's playoff or championship scenarios and previews. The biggest issue, I guess you could say, it is a massive issue for the Broncos, is that Bo Nix is out. So the look-ahead lines before Bo Nix's injury, if Denver played Houston, it would be Denver -1.5 at home. If Denver played the Patriots, -1.5 at home. The current look-ahead lines, obviously not knowing which team they're going to play, Denver +3.5 against Houston. Denver +4.5 against New England. So massive shift in those odds with Bo Nix being out. And it makes sense. The quarterback of this team that's led this team to double-digit wins this season is not playing, and you have a backup in Jarrett Stidham who hasn't played at all this year outside of one kneel down. So that line movement makes sense. But if we break down kind of what those scenarios look like, which matchup would you prefer to have for Denver?
Man, oh man. If you're Denver, you're hoping on, you got to be banking on whichever quarterback looks like the bigger double agent, because your defense, which again has wilted in the second half of the season, ain't nearly what it's made out to be. And really should have given up in regulation time 37 or more points. All the like some of the turnovers were gifts, and you take them.
Yeah.
But they never forced the Bills to punt. The Bills either turned it over controversially or ridiculously, or just, okay, Denver makes a play too, or scored. So you've got to be looking for who's going to help our defense out. And obviously you would think Stroud more than May. Now it would be May's first road playoff game, and Stroud's played a bunch. But still, you have to be looking at it that way. Stroud's more of a playmaker. Stroud's more athletic. Stroud's better passer. Far better deep passer, especially if Nico Collins is still banged up. Harder to prepare for. More of a dervish outside the pocket. Could create more and protects the ball better than Stroud. So you've got to be looking at a scenario where, excuse me. Sean Payton knows he's not getting more than 2 offensive touchdowns with Stidham as his quarterback. Now, the problem is if it's Houston's defense versus New England's, you might not get any against Houston's defense. Now, you like your kicker and its altitude, and that helps you. And you can play a field position game. You probably like your kicker. Well, you definitely like your kicker more than New England. You probably don't like your kicker as much as Houston. So, in the end, it's not going to matter because they're going to get who they get, and that's going to be that. And I don't think they're going to win the game either way. But, I think it's going to be Houston. Do I like Houston money line? Will I be jumping on Houston money line tonight? I will. And then we'll see where that number goes through the week. But I'll be looking at money line in the under. Because, okay, what was the approach last night? When everybody thought they could run on Buffalo, and they could have. Sean Payton's like, no, this Bo Nix kid is legit. Even though that Buffalo's strength is their secondary, especially once Darnell Savage comes into the game and they lose a safety, and then they lose a corner. I'm sitting on a ticket for over 25.5 total rushes for Denver. Felt pretty good about it. Even through the half with the big lead, didn't come close. That's going to switch. That's shifting. Everybody's, hey, Harvey, you get 15 carries. McLaughlin, you get 15 carries. Hey, Stidham, you're going to run it 5 to 8 times. So what does that mean? Under. Keep the clock running. Keep it out, whether it's Stroud or May, keep it out of their hands. Play to the defense. So I'm going to be on Houston in the under. I'm going to be on New England in the under.
Houston and the Broncos under. I mean, that's already 34.5. That's a low total, but speaks to everything that you just said of keeping the ball on the ground, running it, milking the clock, keeping the Texans offense off. I mean, 40.5 if it's Broncos and Patriots. So same thing. I think if I were Denver, I would be really scared of that Houston defense with Stidham in the pocket. Like, that's terrifying. I'm not sure Stidham gets anything done against that Texans defense.
No, he's not going to, and I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball on him either. But they're going to have to try. I mean,
right.
No matter who they play,
both of those defenses can get after.
Especially after the McLaughlin fumble, like, I'm gonna be all over Harvey over 6. Like, I bet you could get.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play 5. I'm gonna play 6 over 6 or more receptions, like from the jump. That's gonna be +2 something. But like, it's not. It's not gonna be Sutton. And Sutton was shut out in that game until the injuries hit.
Yeah.
Stidham's not gonna be throwing downfield to him. You know what I mean? It's gonna be crossers to little Jordan Humphrey. It's gonna be Ingram if he can catch the ball, but I think it's going to be a lot of screens to the running backs. I think it's going to be screen.
Over on the NFC side, the line is telling you that the Rams have a whole lot better chance to beat the Seahawks than the Bears do. Bears +6.5 on the look ahead in Seattle. Rams +1.5 in Seattle. Rams and Seahawks obviously being in the same division. They played twice this year. Rams got the best of them the first time. Seattle won in overtime. Very dramatic game. Seattle came back from down in that second matchup, week 16, to win in overtime. The first game, though, in which the Rams won, the Seahawks, Sam Darnold threw 4 picks, but put up 400+ yards of total offense in that game. And it wasn't exactly, I mean, it was a 21-19 win. It wasn't a blowout, even with 4 interceptions. So, I mean, I think the Rams have a significantly better shot than the Bears do, as the line suggests. Yes. But I'm not sure that even the Rams, if Seattle's defense plays like it did last night, I'm not sure the Rams can get past the Seahawks in this one.
It'll be tough. They were the 2 best teams in the NFC. I think that'd be a hell of a championship game. I don't know about Sam Darnold in that spot, Kate.
I know. He threw 2 picks in that second.
He threw the ball 17 times last night. He's going to have to throw the ball 17 times in the first half.
Yeah.
I just don't think. And if this Charbonnet injury is significant, he's a
Twitter
real weapon.
Doctors are saying it's an ACL. That's not confirmed, but those are the Twitter doctors.
It didn't look good. So that's a big weapon, especially against the way the Rams play defense. McDonald's defense is unbelievable. They were unbelievable 3 weeks ago, and they should have got run out of the gym by the Rams. And if there's not a weird 2-point conversion play, they get run out of the gym by the Rams.
That's right.
And that was Adams was still out in that game, right? And I think Higbee played in that game.
Higbee did not play, and Adams was still out in that game. Yeah, that's the game that Puka had 225 yards, receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
like he went absolutely off in that game.
Hawkinson dropped 2 balls he usually catches. Like I mean, McVay's defense is set up to. Part of the reason I love Seattle so much last night and was on the things I was on, Purdy and Shanahan are not. McDonald's in their head. But I think McVay's in McDonald's head. And I can trace it. I saw McDonald's defense at home in a 1 o'clock window in the rain against Stafford, and McVay did whatever he wanted to him. That same season, McDonald goes to Purdy when he's supposed to win the MVP on a Monday night, and the Ravens are like 7-point underdogs, and Purdy's benched in the second half. He loses the MVP to Lamar that night. They pick him off 4 times.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight one. Buffalo Bills side reporter Maddie Glab joins us next here on BetMGM Game Day.
BetMGM Network Sunday pregame starts now with Jason La Canfora.
I love field goals here. Their offense is broken, and you can correlate it field goal attempts. Like, all they do is kick field goals.
And Kate Constable.
I just think so highly of Kevin O'Connell and what he's able to do with quarterbacks, but Kevin O'Connell has kind of shown us that he can take and help them find success.
3 hours, every game, every edge. Your Sunday betting HQ is live. This is BetMGM Game Day on Westwood One Sports.
2 more games today to find out who goes to the conference championship games, both AFC and NFC. We just broke down those games, Texans and Patriots, and then Rams at Bears. We will build our show parlay as we always do, coming up about 20 minutes from now. 40 minutes from now, we'll close out the show with our best bets, tell you exactly where we're putting our money on today's slate. But for now, we got to go back a little bit to yesterday's game against the Bills and the Broncos, because it was extremely controversial towards the end in overtime. Pass interference calls, interceptions, whether or not you believe it should have been an interception, kind of seemed to decide the game. So to touch on that, we're going to bring in Maddie Glab. She's the sideline reporter for the Buffalo Bills. Maddie, the talk after the game, first, thanks so much for joining us this morning, but the talk after the game was about a lot of those calls in overtime and kind of how that changed the aspect of this game and essentially the outcome. What was the locker room, assuming you were in it after the game, like, in terms of players talking about those situations?
Yeah, players were very emotional, reflecting on the game and reflecting on the outcome. There was a lot of talk about the referees, about those flags thrown, about that Josh Allen pass to Brandon Cooks being an interception, even though it looked like it was a catch. You rarely hear players really speak about the refs because time and time again, when there's controversial calls, players usually say, we didn't do enough to win this game. We didn't do enough to be in a place to come out with a victory. So saying that one play didn't go in our favor due to a flag or whatever call it was does not ultimately decide whether we won or lost. But in this instance, you heard a lot of players speaking about those calls, and Sean McDermott did as well, Buffalo's head coach. When he took the podium after the game, he said he was very confused with how everything unfolded, thought that the interception rule was really sped up. The Broncos got on the field right away, and it seemed like things were moving quickly, so McDermott called that timeout to slow things down. Hopefully the refs could get a couple more looks at it. McDermott did not agree with the fact that it was an interception. He thought that Brandon Cooks' knee was down and it was a catch. And then there was a pool report done with a ref and a reporter, and Carl Cheffer said that the receiver has to complete the process of a catch, but he was going to the ground as a part of the process and lost the possession of the ball when he hit the ground. Once Coach McDermott read that pool report, he then called a reporter, a local media reporter for the Bills, and then explained again for a second time why he thought that was a catch and said that this play does not even look close. That's a catch all the way. I've looked at it at least 20 times. I just don't understand. So this became a very big deal after the game was over. And just scrolling on the internet this morning, people are still feeling like this wasn't the right call. And of course, a lot of these people are Bills fans, but there are a lot of analysts who believe that as well. So this will be the talk, at least over here, for the next week.
Well, I know that Sean McDermott, like a lot of successful coaches, right? John Harbaugh's not in Baltimore anymore. Pittsburgh's a little different because the coach stepped aside, but still, we've been hearing about Tomlin for a while. I felt like the way McDermott handled this will play very well in Western New York, as it should. I think it'll play very well with the Pagulas. And my suspicion has been, as long as this quarterback backs that head coach, and I have no reason to believe he won't, that Sean McDermott will be okay from this. But questions are being asked. What do you think of how he comported himself in the aftermath of a controversial loss and what his job security looks like?
I think the way that he conveyed himself after this game fans will love what he did, right?
Yeah.
He said that he's standing up for Buffalo. He said that he's taking the podium and saying these things because he feels like he needs to fight for his team, who had been on the field for 3 hours, finding a way to force overtime. So I didn't think he did anything unprofessional in the way that he was passionate about what happened. In the years that I've been covering this team since 2019, I have not seen Sean McDermott be unprofessional when it comes to the ways that referees call the game. I don't think he did that last night. In terms of his job security, I personally believe he's safe. This is a team who has won at least 11 wins now in 6 straight seasons. That ties for the 4th longest in Super Bowl era. They've won a playoff game as well several seasons in a row, 6 straight seasons. Only 1 of 4 teams can say they've ever done that. I think that because of that, because of the quarterback they have, because of how Sean McDermott consistently gets the best out of his players, he will be okay. A lot of people thought that McDermott wasn't getting enough praise this year because the defense was so beaten and battered throughout the season. They really had to find different ways to get it done. The defense had a lot of second half comebacks where they mixed things up. They disguised a lot of things, threw quarterbacks off, and ultimately helped them win a lot of games. And McDermott is known for being a defensive-minded head coach. A lot of those things funnel through him. So a lot of people feel like, yes, the season did end in the divisional round, but McDermott didn't get enough praise and enough kudos for what he did to put this defense together that was without so many starters throughout the season.
Maddie, Josh Allen did not turn the ball over much at all this season. He had gone 427 snaps without a turnover before committing those 2 in yesterday's game. What did the Broncos defense do that disrupted Josh Allen so much yesterday?
Yeah, Josh Allen went into this game having a streak of 6 straight playoff games without a turnover, which is incredible. He had done such a good job of taking care of the football in playoff games. And in this game against the Broncos, has 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles, which is very uncharacteristic for Allen, regardless of if it's a playoff game. He's very good at taking care of the football when the stakes are high. We didn't see that last night against the Broncos. The Broncos, we know, one of the best defenses in the league, allowing just 18 points per game. They're known for how they get after the passer. They led the NFL with sacks this year with 68, and they pressured Allen at times. We saw that strip sack fumble. That was one of the reasons why Josh Allen lost the football, was because of their physicality up front, because of the way that they can rush the passer. So that definitely played a part. Although when you look at the Broncos as a whole going into this game, they weren't the best at taking away the football. Bottom 10 in the NFL with just 14 takeaways in the regular season. They get 5 takeaways in this game against Buffalo. So also a little bit uncharacteristic to how Denver's defense was playing all year. But I think Allen did feel that pass rush a few times. And unfortunately, there was that James Cook fumble as well. He got hit really hard and lost the ball, which added to the count. So unfortunate for Buffalo, but Denver really took advantage of those takeaways and scored 16 points off of them.
So, Maddie, where do they go from here? We kind of saw another season that ended with them not being able to get that critical sack that they needed. You know, they rented Bosa this time around. He showed up in a couple big games, but I wasn't super impressed, and that was a pretty ridiculous penalty. Who catches the ball for that? You know what I mean? Do they stick with these 2 tight ends? Are they both back? Do they need a true number 1 wide receiver? Can you run it through Shakir as much as they do? Are we I feel like we've been here before. Am I crazy?
No, we have been here before, where you get to the off season and you wonder, okay, what's going to happen? How do you need to construct your roster to be able to get to an AFC championship game and win that game and find your way into the playoffs while Josh Allen is still in his prime? That is something that everybody is thinking about. Just how do you put the weapons that Josh needs around him so that they can make this Super Bowl run? I mean, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league and plays like the best quarterback in the league. So many times during an NFL season, you have to do this guy due diligence by making sure he has every weapon he needs. I thought what Buffalo did with the run game this year, leading the NFL in rushing yards per game, and having James Cook as your rushing title leader was huge for Josh Allen because he didn't have to be Superman all the time. James Cook took some of the load off of him, so Allen didn't have to run as much as he normally does through an NFL season as well. I think extending James Cook this past offseason was huge. Yeah. He's going to be a big part of Buffalo's offense. They did extend players like Khalil Shakir as well. So you have to figure out who is going to be that core group of wide receivers. The Bills signed Joshua Palmer to a 3-year deal last year, but Palmer was placed on IR a couple weeks ago and was really in and out of the lineup all season with injuries. So I do think you have to look at that wide receiver room and figure out what do we need to make this thing click and to make it run and to give Josh Allen the options that he needs. You have to figure out, what do we want to do with our tight end room? Are we happy with what we have in Dalton Kincaid, a younger tight end who will be looking for a new deal here soon enough? And then you have to look at the defense. You're right. The pass rush did not get home enough against Bo Nix. He was not sacked once. The pocket was clean for him, and Nix did a lot on the run yesterday. Yep. It was hard to take Nix down because of how successful he was on the run. And so I think you really need to look at everything, and you need to figure out, what do we need here? Sean McDermott always says it starts in the trenches. I think Buffalo's offensive line did a great job with the rushing offense, but Josh Allen was sacked a lot this season. You have to look at the defensive line. What players do we need to add to this lineup to make sure that we can sack the quarterback and we can affect the passer? And then you look at the secondary, too. The secondary was patchworked with veteran players who came here on one-year deals. Is that going to be the case next year? Do you sign these veteran players who know the system really well to short-term deals? Or do you find that in the draft? Or do you make a big swing in free agency and try to sign some big-time players who will elevate this roster as a whole? So I think it's going to be looked at from the top down to the bottom, and there are going to be changes. This roster is not going to look the same as it did this year, and I think that's a good thing because you do have to move forward. You do have to figure out how you can win more games, how you can be at home, a home team in the playoffs. They were on the road the entire playoffs. If they would have beaten the Broncos, they would have stayed on the road. I think that affects things as well. So, yeah, there will be some change in Buffalo this offseason.
Maddie Glab, Buffalo Bills sideline reporter, joining us here on BetMGM Game Day. Maddie, a lot of conversation going into this playoffs that this was Josh Allen's best chance at a Super Bowl because he didn't have Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, those big-time names. How does this early exit affect how people view Josh Allen or his potential legacy down the road?
Yeah, this was the year you thought, well, if the path is open, maybe it's open this year because you don't have to deal with Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or Joe Burrow. I mean, we know the history between the Bills and the Chiefs in the playoffs. The Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season, but they haven't beaten the Chiefs in the playoffs. 0-4 against the Chiefs in the playoffs. So you thought maybe this could be the year you don't have to face a really good Chiefs team. Yes, the Chiefs didn't make it into the playoffs, so weren't as good as years past, but it's been a struggle for Allen and the Bills to get past those Chiefs. But ultimately, it didn't matter if Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow was not a part of the playoffs because the Bills didn't get to the AFC Championship game. They didn't win in the divisional round, so their road ends a lot earlier than people wanted it to. So you look forward to next year, and maybe Patrick Mahomes will be in it next year coming off of that injury, and the Bills will have to go through Kansas City again to find their way to a potential Super Bowl chance. So while people thought that it was going to be great because those quarterbacks weren't in it, it ended up not mattering anyways.
Before we let you go, Maddie, you obviously saw New England twice. You saw Houston once. I'd say in those 3 games, 12 quarters of football, the Bills really had their hands full with those 2 teams, except for the third and fourth quarter of the game that they ended up winning against New England. What do you think of that matchup from what you've seen through a Bills prism? Does that lead you to any conclusions about Texans, Patriots today?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hard-fought matchup. We were saying when those 2 teams were matched up against each other for the divisional round, we were thinking, wow, those two teams can deal with each other and then spit out the winner, and hopefully Buffalo will be moving on to the AFC Championship game to play whoever that is. But when I think of those two teams, I think of their defenses. I mean, the Houston Texans defense is next level. The Bills could only score 19 points on them when we faced them in week 12. I mean, from the back end to the front end, their defensive backs are just so good. They can shut so much down. Their pass rush really got to Josh Allen as well. He was sacked 8 times in that game and really felt the heat of what they were able to do. The Patriots are just such a well-coached team. Mike Vrabel is a really good NFL head coach. I'm not surprised that he's done what he's done with the Patriots this year, giving them an AFC East title in just early on in his stages as the Patriots head coach. And Drake May has been playing fantastic football. I mean, one of the most accurate passers in the league this year, and they've got some weapons around him who've been able to help move the football. I think it's going to be a great matchup. I look at the defense with these two teams. I think if defense carries in this matchup, I do look at the Houston Texans being able to beat the Patriots, but I think it'll be a really close game.
Maddie, last question here for you, and then we'll let you go. How much of a almost like slap in the face, maybe that's not quite the right term, but does it feel just knowing now that not only the Bills, they didn't advance yesterday and with a lot of those calls down the stretch, but then Bo Nix is hurt and is done for the season. So now they get to advance with a backup quarterback that I don't know really who's going to give Jarrett Stidham the same type of chance to win that game as they would if Bo Nix were playing.
It's crazy. You can't make this stuff up. We were in our post-game show and get word that Sean Payton came back to the podium to say that Bo Nix broke his ankle and is out for the rest of the season. And you're like, what? How did this happen? It's crazy to think that this team, the Denver Broncos, are going to the AFC Championship game with a backup quarterback. I'm sure the Texans and the Patriots are thinking, wow, if we win this game, we're going to the Super Bowl because it's going to be easy to beat a backup in the AFC Championship game. We'll see. The good thing for the Broncos is that their defense has carried their team all year. I mean, the Broncos have only averaged 23 points per game. They have struggled to keep drives alive at times during the regular season. They didn't do that last night against Buffalo. But I'm sure the Texans and the Patriots are licking their chops for an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl because all they have to do is get by a backup quarterback. Bummer for Buffalo that they couldn't come out of this with a win. They forced overtime, but again, you look at those 5 turnovers that they had. You're -4 on the day. It's really hard to win a game when you turn the football over 5 times and only get 1 takeaway on the other end.
Yeah, the NFL never really ceases to amaze us with the drama and storylines in it. Maddie, appreciate you taking the time this morning to get up and chat with us. Congrats on an awesome season with the Bills, and we'll talk to you again down the road.
Yeah, enjoy the games today, guys.
You too.
That is Maddie Glab. She is the sideline reporter for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, yeah, Jason, the Bills already just in their feelings, obviously, for the loss, and then you add on the Bo Nix piece of it. It's got to be just so frustrating for that team and those players to sit at home now and watch a team that, yes, beat them yesterday and turned them over and did all the little things they were supposed to, but now doesn't have their starting quarterback going forward. And if you're a Texans or Patriots fan, you're probably thinking, like Maddie said, yeah, this is going to be an easy road to the AFC Championship game. Nothing's really easy in the NFL, but certainly easier with Jarrett Stidham versus Bo Nix.
Well, I just feel like it's deja vu all over again for Buffalo. Like Josh Allen had this string of 6 straight playoff games where he didn't turn it over, which is amazing. He turned it over every other possession in this game. The one at the end of the half, egregious. That's points on the board. Like, he wasn't good enough. They still don't really have a pass rush. They can't get over the mountain. The diversity, like the ball's so spread out in the pass game, and that's great, but there's no real go-to guy when you need it the most. Allen missed some throws he normally makes. Like, I just feel like Buffalo and Baltimore, their seasons kind of end the same way every year.
Yep. And we're having the same conversations about Sean McDermott and if Josh Allen can win with him, win with the roster, all of that stuff. It's kind of like deja vu. Yep. All right. We got to build our show parlay. That's coming up on the other side. We will build it in Bears and Rams. That game we think is going to be significantly higher scoring than the Texans and Patriots this afternoon. So same game parlay coming your way on the other side. Kate Constable, Jason Lockenfora here with you on Westwood One Sports.
BetMGM Game Day, your weekend sports authority. Westwood One Sports. BetMGM Game Day continues on Westwood One Sports.
Jason looking for Kate Constable here with you on BetMGM Game Day, breaking down the two divisional matchups this afternoon. And we always build a show parlay towards the end of the show, and it is towards the end of the show. 20 minutes from now, we'll give out our best bets, tell you where we're putting our money on today's games. Guys, we got to toot our own horn. We have to. We hit a 33-1 big money parlay last week. Saquon Barkley, 100-plus rushing yards. Drake May, 30-plus rushing yards. Trevor Lawrence, 3-plus passing touchdowns. We were very nervous about the 3-plus passing touchdowns that Brandon threw in there. Gave him a hard time for that. Guess who bet that one? Brandon bet it at 33-1. Guess who didn't bet that at 33-1?
Yeah.
Me.
Me
Jason.
neither.
Yeah.
I went with the
Not
other
good.
one.
I bet our just normal SGP
Yes.
a 5-1. I thought, okay, if I'm going to put any money on either of these, I'll put my money on the one that has the better chance of, actually hitting. No. 33-1 came home. I think that's our biggest one of the year, guys. Has to be, right?
Yeah, it was the first big money parlay one that we hit for sure.
Right. We just
probably
started
like
doing
our
the big
fifth
money
parlay
a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. But it felt good.
I'm sure it did, Brandon. I'm sure it did. Yeah. Did not feel good. Did not feel good to me getting the text from Brandon, 33-1 hit. And I'm like, oh boy, that's the one I did not bet. And that sucks. But that's how it goes sometimes. Also, over at BetMGM, you can attach your no sweat token to a qualifying playoff bet and get a bonus bet back if you win. So if you want to do that along with this same game parlay, go to BetMGM, no sweat token, bonus bet back if your bet loses. But we're not going to lose this one. We're going to go another big money parlay, and then we'll also build just a regular parlay, and doing that in the Bears and Rams game, because let's be honest, we don't think there's going to be a whole lot of scoring in the Patriots-Texans game today. So
no.
Let's go Bears-Rams, 3-leg, same game parlay, and then we'll build our big money bet as well. Jason, you start us off. What are we looking at in Bears-Rams for a parlay?
Can we take Caleb Williams rushing like 40 plus or 50 plus? I think he goes off.
Wow. I like that.
Well, I think he's got a long of 20 plus. So, which ends, you can't, a lot of places won't let you parlay that. Some places won't offer alts in the long market. But
40 plus is 4.5 to 1, and 50 plus is 8 to 1.
Let's go I think, look, there's a lot.
Wow.
There's a lot of quarterbacks who are not as fast and as nimble and as powerful as Caleb Williams, who are running for 40 yards in playoff games. Purdy won 30 last night without really trying. Nick's cleared 30 easy, and he didn't run in the second half, and then he had the ankle thing, which, I don't know, was probably bothering him. I don't know if it all just happened on that one play or not. Last week we saw Herbert do it. Like, I think he's got several explosive runs in this game.
I'm good.
Do you want 40 plus or 50?
Let's go 40.
Which one are we going? 40 plus?
40.
All right. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Brandon, the wheels are turning for Brandon.
Yeah. No, look, the wheels are turning because he went there, and my initial thought was just the over at minus 110. Normally it's the other way around where I've got the crazy one.
Well, if you look around, there are places you can get a Caleb Williams rush of 20 yards or more for plus 500.
Wow.
Really?
I love that.
One rush? Mm-hmm. Like his longest rush.
Long
20.
rush of 20 or more.
Because his rushing prop is set at 20 and a half. Like, that's the full game rushing prop. Yeah. You're talking longest. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I like it. Do we just add the over? I mean, we're already at 4.5 to 1. We add the because I love the over in this game. I don't know about you guys. I think I think the cold weather's not a factor for either one of these offenses. And then if you add that over, and we're at almost 8-1 now, and we still have a third leg to go.
Do we go Puka anytime touchdown, Puka yards, receptions, or Stafford passing yards?
I like all the above.
I like the Puka touchdown.
We had a 3 passing touchdown hit in this spot last week.
We did.
If he throws for 3, does at least one of them go to Puka?
He probably.
Yeah. I mean, you could really with the anytime touchdowns. I mean, Devontae, Puka, Kyron Williams, DeAndre Swift, Colston Loveland. Like, I like all of these guys to get into the end zone. So I'm fine with either. I'm fine with the passing yards. I'm fine with the touchdown, whichever way you guys want to go. Let's say we went with the Puka touchdown. That puts us at 12.5 to 1.
Okay. I think I like that for the quote unquote small money parlay.
Oh, that's the conservative one. Oh, okay.
That's the conservative one.
Right there.
Okay.
So I think then in a big money one, we go like Stafford touchdowns. 3+ touchdowns.
Definitely.
Which, let's see.
That's plus 150. I thought that would be higher
Loveland,
when you first said it.
I was seeing Loveland at like around plus 200 for an anytime, which I really liked.
I also like Caleb's number passing yards wise. Caleb at to 250 plus passing yards is plus 185. 275 plus,
all right.
Plus
you want to go
350.
ballsy? What about Caleb pass and rush over 300? If this is the
I like that.
Yeah, just his passing over 300 is plus 625. His passing and rushing over 300 is his passing and rush over 300 is 8-1.
Pass and rush over 300, 8-1. Fine, throw it in there.
Pass and rush over 300. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. 300 total yards.
And
pass.
I love a Colston Loveland touchdown today. I think he gets in the end zone. And do we want to throw a Kyron Williams touchdown on this one as well?
You want to get real freaky, throw Bears defense special teams touchdown in there.
Holy hell. Okay.
Oh, even Brandon can't comprehend that. That's crazy for him.
No. Oh, no, I can't. I love it. Let's see here. Let's go. Where's it at? Here it is, right here. That is actually 18-1. So we are looking. All right, guys. So with the defense special teams touchdown for the Chicago Bears, with if this will load up for me, all of a sudden, there it goes. Caleb Williams, 300 plus rushing and passing yards. Colston Loveland and Kyra Williams, both anytime touchdowns. 300-1.
We got Kyron Williams in there too. All right, I like that.
Honestly, but yeah,
it feels a little light.
Well, at this point, if you throw the over in because it's correlated, is it even worth it to throw the over in? Do we get?
Yeah, I doubt that moves it.
The off chance that it doesn't. I don't know how much it's going to move the needle because a lot is is correlated to the over.
If we do the over puts it up to the over actually takes it down to 275 to 1.
Say, yeah, it's probably that was my thinking. That's why I was like, yeah.
Well, if you have 3 touchdowns from Stafford, you have
and a defensive touchdown.
Kyron rushing, 2 Bears touchdowns in there. That's
the Kyron could technically be a passing touchdown from Stafford, but still, we obviously have heavy over tendencies in this.
Yeah, we do. We don't often have unders in our parlays.
That's a 4-leg 300-1 parlay. That's not bad for 4 legs to get 300-1 odds.
I don't know how
$10.
Wait, I have 5 legs in that one. What are you missing? Stafford, Williams, Loveland, Kyron Williams, and Bears special teams.
Oh, you know what? I'm missing the Stafford one.
Stafford 3+.
Yeah, let me throw that in there.
Oh yeah, now, so, yeah, 300 felt light to me.
We're gonna be through the moon. Give me a second here. Passing touchdowns, 3+. We are at 602 to 1.
Now you're talking.
All right.
And place bet.
Now I feel like I have to bet this because if this hits like it did last week, I'm gonna be so pissed if I didn't.
Yeah. You have to at this point. I mean, it just makes sense.
Crazier things have happened.
That's true. That's true. All right, so let's recap these. Our conservative bet, our 12-1 same game parlay is Caleb Williams 40+ rushing yards, the over in the game 48.5, and a Puka Nacua anytime touchdown. The big money bet 602 to 1. Matthew Stafford 3+ touchdowns. Caleb Williams 300 total yards rushing and passing. Colson Loveland anytime touchdown. Kyron Williams anytime touchdown, and a Bears defense or special teams touchdown.
I love it.
Too shabby. Love it.
Getting
money in the bank.
That's right. We're doing the Lord's work over here, making you guys rich. Also, a reminder over at
chasing ridiculous paydays. I don't know.
That could be the same. That could be it as well. Over at BetMGM, you can attach your no sweat token to a qualifying playoff bet. So, assuming this big one qualifies, you get your stake back. If this bet doesn't hit, it's going to hit. Why are we even throwing that in the mix here? But head over to BetMGM
when it hits,
and you can
when it hits.
That's right. We're not saying if, we're saying when things hit. On the other side, we will give you a ton more bets for these two games that hopefully you'll be pleased when they hit at the end of the evening. We'll wrap up the show. Our best bets coming your way next. This is BetMGM Game Day on Westwood One Sports.
This is BetMGM Game Day, only on Westwood One Sports. sports conversation rolls on with BetMGM Game Day right here on Westwood One Sports.
Wrapping things up here on BetMGM Game Day. Kate Constable, Jason Lockenfora here with you. It is that time of the show where we give you our best bets for today. Only 2 games, but bets are not limited in those 2 games. Plenty coming your way. Jason, I mean, we don't have a whole lot more to discuss today outside of these bets. We've broken down each of the games. We've built our show parlay. We've kind of done it all. So I'm going to let you just kick things off here for us. Give us your favorite bets in both of these games, Texans, Patriots, Bills, Rams, and you can do sides, totals, props. Just rifle through them.
Sure. Well, let's start, I guess, in the early game. I like Houston money line, and I like the under. Now, I've taken the under up a little bit and parlayed it. Just because weird stuff happens, pick sixes, there's ways that things end up going over that maybe shouldn't otherwise go over. So I like Houston money line and maybe take it up 40, under 44.5, under 46.5, just depending on your price point. But I'm on those plays. I'm on Fairbairn at least 2 field goals. I'm on both teams to have a field goal of 35 yards or longer. I'm on Drake May, longest rush over 13.5. Drake May, longest rush over 20.5. I'm on Drake May, over 7.5 rushing attempts, parlayed with an interception. I'm on Drake May to throw an interception by itself. Do I have an interception parlay in this game? I do. Both quarterbacks to throw an interception. That's basically where I am on that game. I don't have as many player props in that game as I like in the other game because I think there's going to be a whole lot more scoring in the other game, as we just chronicled in our allegedly conservative parlay, and then our 602-1 parlay. In the nightcap, yeah, there's a lot I like. I'm obviously all over Caleb Williams rushing from what we talked about there. I like the long rush. I like him to have an explosive run of at least 20 yards or more. I have a Caleb Williams ladder, rushing and receiving starting at 220, or passing and receiving starting at 225 and 2 touchdowns. I also have it at 250 and 2 touchdowns. I also have it at 275 and 2 touchdowns. I like Matt Stafford to throw for 275 yards and 2 touchdowns. I also have Matt Stafford to throw for 3 or more passing touchdowns. I have Puka Nacua, anytime touchdown and over 100 yards receiving. I have a Loveland, anytime touchdown. I have the over. I have Rams money line, and I took the total down to 47.5 and went over. So Rams money line plus over 47.5. I also just look. I put a little something on the over at 50.5 early in the week, before we knew everything about Stafford's finger, and maybe there's still more we should know about Stafford's finger. Again, there's always risk involved here. But I think these 2 offenses get together. I've sprinkled on a Bears defensive and special teams touchdown. I think Duvernay against these coverage units is going to see a lot of stuff he likes. I don't like the Rams special teams at all. And Chicago's defense, while it doesn't have tremendous individual talent, they turn people over quite a bit, and they have a knack for making a big play at a big moment. Yeah, that's where I am.
All right. I like it. A lot of similar bets on my end, not quite as many, but I am going under on the Texans and Patriots game. I think that one is extremely low scoring. 40.5 is the number right now. I'm going to go Drake May over his rushing yards. 37.5 is what that's up to. I think you could take that up even, 40 easily. You want to go 50, get a little crazy? Sure, why not? Over in the Bears-Rams game, I'm going to go the over in that one, 48.5. I mean, our big money parlay, we expect a whole lot of scoring going on in that game. So I think that one is an over despite some of the elements today. Puka Nacua, anytime touchdown. And then Matthew Stafford, passing yards. I know the finger is a factor. How much of a factor is that going to be? Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not worried about Stafford throwing in cold weather. I think he has a monster game through the air against this Bears defense that really can't stop a whole lot. Brandon, do you want to come in and give us some of your bets and maybe a couple crazy parlays?
Yeah, a couple of crazy parlays is kind of what I do. Look, I like the Bears money line today. I really do. I also like the Texans money line today. I think both of these teams are look, I picked them both to go to the Super Bowl, so maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I think both of these teams are live today. Bears in Chicago, that cold weather, man. It is something, and I know that we talked about Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford 1-8 in games below freezing, but his numbers are really good. Those 1-8 wins and losses, not a quarterback stat. So
those Lions defenses were terrible. Those Lions defenses were terrible when he was in the division.
I agree. I disagree with people who think that Matt Stafford can't play in cold weather. I disagree with that.
Just saw it last year in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I like the under in New England and Houston as well. The over in the Bears and Rams, but two parlays that I have in each game. I've got the under 40.5 in Texans and Patriots, along with the CJ Stroud and Drake May, both to go under their passing touchdowns. That's 7.5 to 1. And then in the Bears and Rams, I've got money line Bears over 48.5. Colston Loveland and Puka Nacua to score a touchdown, and Caleb Williams. I took your 40-plus rush yards, and that gives me 60 to 1 on a 5-legger in that game.
Gotta love that. Some big money there. Jason, I know we don't really have we have look-ahead lines, but we don't know what the matchups are going to be yet, so I'm not going to put you on the spot there unless you really have anything.
No, I mean, look, I'm holding tickets for a Rams Texans Super Bowl, so fair to say, I'll if I like what I see on the money line tonight, if those are alive, if those teams are alive, I am going to be looking for money line value on them. But a few other things today. I do like a match coming up in the Premiership. I like Aston Villa over Everton. I played it half full. Everton's a terrible first half team. Aston Villa's in great form right now. So that means Villa leads at half. Villa wins the match. You can get that at plus 150. I love the over in the Raptors-Lakers game tonight. I love the over in the Tulsa UAB game, which I played it around 157.5. Tulsa overs are same magnifique. I think both those teams score 80 points or more in that match. And this one's for you, Brandon. Maybe you write this down. Champions League kicks back in this week after a month off. We do have a Brandon special. Bayern Munich to score at least 3 goals. Harry Kane to score 1 of them. Erling Haaland to score for Man City. Then we like Atalanta money line and Juventus money line. That'll get you about 12 to 1 in that Champions League parlay.
Look, I'm not one to correct you, especially on soccer, but isn't it Juventus?
No. Juventus.
No? The whole time I thought it was Juventus. I just maybe getting into my Spanish a little bit too much.
Juventus.
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 Okay, see?
No. It's Italy. It's not Spain, so the J is
fair.
not an H.
Oh, see?
I mean,
Italian shows how much I know about soccer.
But, yeah, Juventus.
I do love the number, though. It's a
I
great
thought you
number.
would. I thought you would. Bayern to score at least 3 times. Harry Kane, anytime goal. Erling Haaland, anytime goal. Atalanta and Juve to win.
Send that to me. I'll tail it.
Watch WannaBet. We'll be talking about it tomorrow. Watch WannaBet. WannaBetWithUs.com. We are live 11 Eastern every day.
11 Eastern. Coming right up here. Which means we got to get out of here. Thank you all for joining us today. Hope you win some bets. For Monty, Grant, Brandon, all behind the scenes. He's Jason Lockenfora. I'm Kate Constable. You better you bet. Countdown to kickoff with Nick Costos coming up next here on Westwood One Sports.
BetMGM Game Day. Make it legendary on Westwood One Sports.